there is a really interesting relationship between awakening and day-to-day life. And it's a relationship that I would say, in my opinion anyway, has not been very much explored yet. Most of us, we came into spiritual life through Oriental influence. And if not Oriental influence, then at least we could say through traditions that have been dominated by the masculine psyche. Now if you think about it, if you come down to religion, that means basically all of them. There aren't any major world religions founded by women. Small pockets, maybe something in Egypt and some pagan stuff, but the big ones, all founded by men, all propagated by men. I feel, and I've spent years now researching this, that we are seeing the emergence of a completely different kind of spirituality which doesn't fit any of the models that we can borrow from either Eastern or Western traditions. And I want to illustrate a little bit what I mean by a spirituality which is a balance of masculine and feminine energy. Let's think about the masculine psyche for a moment, if you don't mind doing that. What do very masculine people, what do they really like doing? What do they enjoy? What do very masculine people like doing on a Saturday afternoon? Playing football or watching football. Right. I'm not a big football guy, and I've often wondered what's in it, because it's about these guys, and they've got a ball. In England, they kick it, and I think here they hold it. And what they've got to do is break through all these other guys who are like really big. So they've got to break through all these boundaries, and finally, right? Breakthrough. The other thing that masculine people have a predisposition to is war, which also isn't a very feminine thing. If I told you that the small country of Boganesia was invaded last week by its neighbours, a huge army went in, 300,000 soldiers, 25,000 tanks, aircraft dropping bombs, and the entire army was women. You can't imagine it, right? Because the whole thing about invading, pushing through, conquering, it's another interest of the hyper-masculine mind. That means a psyche that is out of balance towards the masculine. Does this make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what happens if you give spirituality over and let it be dominated by the masculine mind? It will turn spirituality into a football match. Right? I'm going to send the energy up here. I'm going to keep that down there. And I'm going to and I'm going to obliterate the ego and wipe out, and then finally enlightenment. And enlightenment in a hyper-masculine tradition means absolute voidness. Nothing. Nothing happens anymore. Any reference to the personal is gone. No feelings, especially not negative feelings. No thoughts. Just. So this is like the model of the masculine concept of spirituality is like this.
It sounds like a suicide bomber.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's think about feminine people. Never mind about spirituality, just feminine people. And I don't mean to be too stereotyped here. I'm talking not about men and women. I'm talking about masculine and feminine energy. So what do feminine people like to watch on TV? Probably, generally not football. What do they prefer to watch?
Soap operas.
Okay. And what's that all about? Yeah. It's all about feelings. Is he going to tell her that he loves her? Oh no, he's walking out the door. Oh. The other thing that feminine people really enjoy, and I don't mean to be pejorative because I'm simply talking about energies that we all have, is shopping. My wife loves shopping, and I could never get it because we go to the mall or wherever, or she loves to shop in this kind of a town where there's all these kind of little boutiques, And she loves to shop for hours. And after maybe 2 or 3 hours, I say, well, aren't you going to buy anything? No, no, no. I just like shopping. So her idea of shopping is not to buy stuff, it's to feel the textures and notice how that colour goes with that. And then to feel, especially she likes smells. This is the interest of the feminine psyche. It's very much oriented towards the present moment and feeling the present moment through the body. Does that make sense? Now, of course, both can be imbalanced. If life becomes completely dominated by the masculine, as it has been in most arenas, everything becomes about like a football match. The breakthrough, and business becomes breakthrough. If life was to be completely dominated by the feminine, we'd all just be lost in colours and textures and just watching soap operas. But what we're seeing now in the last few years, and we can go into why if you're interested, what we're seeing is the emergence of a spirituality that is demonstrating, beginning to demonstrate a balance of masculine and feminine energy. And this is actually completely mind-blowingly revolutionary. Because it means spirituality, instead of being about a journey or a path, both very masculine words, to a goal, spirituality becomes about this moment. Spirituality becomes a love affair with this moment. So actually one of the first things to get flushed down the WC is the concept of enlightenment. Now, I don't know about you, but certainly for me, as I was growing up in these different things, I assumed that enlightenment and spiritual life were just like, peas in a pod. That spirituality was about the journey to enlightenment. Does that make sense? But you know what I discovered in the last years, investigating this quite deeply and writing this book? I mean, I was hard-pressed to find anybody who could really clearly define what that word is meant to mean. And if they could, they didn't agree. So what happens to us, and this is, for most of us, is so extremely liberating. What happens to us when we maintain our longing and our commitment to awakening, but abandon the idea of any final state of arrival? That is what I'm describing in the Translucent Revolution. And I would estimate by now, and there are some fairly accurate parameters to estimate this kind of revolution in consciousness has probably affected 3 to 4 million people worldwide. That means 3 to 4 million people whose lives have been affected enough by an awakening that that awakening has become more important than just fulfilling the agenda of fear, desire, and being right.